Jay Wilson. I live at 39 Henry Street, Lynn. I've been at the Lynn Phoenix for 20 years, from when it was Cronin's to when it transferred over to Phoenix. I've worked my way up from working from the doorman to chief of security to actually doing the general manager. I'm doing everything possible to make this a better place for people. I've seen a lot of people come and go. When they roll the hours back, I saw a lot of good friends of mine lose their jobs. I saw bartenders lose their jobs. I saw waitresses lose their jobs. And, I mean, you look at the economy, I turn the television set on every day. Nobody goes out anymore early. Everybody goes out at 11:30. That's just a common proof. And that last hour can either make or really break a business. It really can. I mean, people are so, businesses are opening up later, trying to save on heat, electricity. I mean, these people got a lot of bills with that. I mean, that last hour, like, when the bars used to stay open till 2, that last hour was actually what made a lot of bars stay open. I've seen a lot of clubs close since to roll back to because they just can't afford it. That's all I got to say.
Commissioners, my name is Jay Collins, and I am a almost 40-year license holder in the city of Lynn, and it hasn't been easy. I feel like my constituents behind me work hard, are committed, are dedicated. I'm talking about the other license holders, as well as myself, and some of us were treated unfairly. I don't think you're in business for 40 years and a troublemaker. But I do have to say to the Lynn police, if it wasn't for them 40 years ago, I wouldn't be here today. And thank you. And I hope when the Lynn police get up here that they can proudly say there are some respectable establishments in the city. That's the only thing that I feel as though we've been treated unfair. And again, thank you. And I'm for 2 o'clock. Thank you.
What is your address?
12th Road Circle in Pearl.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would wish to speak in favor of extending the hours to 2 a.m.?
Good evening. My name is Vivian Bennett. I live at 24 Central Street, Marblehead, Mass. I want you to know I worked in Lynn for about 11 years, and I used to hear sort of like scary stories of how dangerous this city is, but I disagree. I think that there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of good people, and I enjoy coming to the city to go to restaurants, nightclubs, and I think this city, I think the police, they do a wonderful job. You call the phone and they right there within 3 minutes. And I think that we can work together, and I think it's very unfair where the Lynn business are positioned with Revere, the city of Revere, which is and there's a lot of loss of revenue. And that's why I came tonight. I think it's a great opportunity. There's a lot going on in the city, and it's attracting a lot of good people, professionals. And I don't think that everybody comes to Lynn to commit crimes or anything like that. And I think it's okay to be a city where people want to come in and enjoy what is here. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Seth Albaum. I live at 7 Central Square in downtown Lynn. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I was moved to speak, thanks in part to John Olson referencing the downtown so eloquently. And I was one of the young professionals who bought a loft downtown, looking for a thriving, vibrant community in which to live, where I can walk to restaurants, walk to see bands playing, or a DJ. We've come a long way on the restaurant scene and with the Lynn Auditorium. But for options after 11 or 11:30, we've actually gone backwards since I moved here. The other night, as I'm a teacher on summer break, during the week, I decided to go out for a drink. I didn't like what my wife was watching on television. And the Ox was closing up, O'Sullivan's was closing up. They were all closing up. The sidewalks were rolling up. That's not the downtown that I moved to. That is not the downtown that attracted me. When I moved there, we had Tatiana's, we had the original Gulu Gulu. The Sandbar opened more nights of the week. We had places we could walk to that were friendly and safe and not contributing to some of the problems that we've had. In a few days, I won't be a young professional anymore. I'll be 40. I may not stay out as late as I want to, but I want to see the hours go back to 2 a.m. so that if it's 11 o'clock, there's a thriving establishment able to do business in Lynn that I can enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would wish to speak in favor of the podium closing? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the podium closing? Final time. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the 2 a.m. closing?
Hello. Yes, my name is Cristina Costa. I own a business over here in Mexico. But over here, I'm talking on behalf of maybe what is standing a little bit. We are here about the hour, business open hour for business like that. Because I know that there are many people here that they open and see we have a little time to go, maybe have a social moment in those places. Instead of we go from here to Boston, because the time is not on time here, maybe we can make it at 10:30 or maybe 11 after we work over here. And we have 1 hour to spare time over here. And it's not fair enough maybe for most of us over here. And I know things about their business too, because the business, I know that they are, have a rent to, many expenses to, cover. And I know that it would be a very short time for them. Maybe I can have one of the drinks. And I don't want to take a risk myself to go over there and take like maybe 3 or 4 beers and be in the middle of the process to come over here and get some problem driving. Maybe I will leave my car over here at home and take a couple of beers and go in the taxi over here. We still make some business over here in the taxi. That's my point of view. Thank you for listening.
Could you please tell us your address?
Oh yes, I am. I live in 47 Collins Street. I own a business in 598 Exit Street, Cannon's Place Barber Shop.
Thank you. Please sign in, please. Sign in. Sir?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of a 2 a.m. closing?
I've been in citizens for over 2 years. I've been in this industry for over 4 years because I help my parents economically. And this extra hour will help me even help them more. So I think you guys should take it into consideration.
Thank you. What is your address?
16 New Hall Street.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I work in the industry. I've been in this business here for a year, for money. But I've been in hospitality business for like 20 years. Hotels, convention centers, and I really enjoy, working with people. Working for this, actually, I love it. As a Latino, I love working in hotels. But also, I feel so bad, when people who work with us. When we start, with a lot of, people working with us, walk and say, many of these people that work with this extra money. Right now, from people that used to have right now, which is some people they go and sit down and talk to people about us. Only one time it's really hard to pay everything. We pay our employees, pay our giving to buy things. So many things happen. By speaking about our customers, they have to travel to other cities, which is speaking about safety. Decide to go to other cities. They run whatever and come from there. And with that, they have small problems. Now they just come here and have everything that they're looking for. They don't really need to just go and have fun, and then go home. So that's why I asked you to help us with this, but pray. And I know we're with all the customers, all the other owners of business, we're gonna have each other to make this place safe. You know, I know sometimes we concerned, and I've been part of my husband's police department, and I know it's very, it's mine. Every single night when we're done, to make sure everybody goes safe. Not just inside the home, also when you go. So,
What's your address?
my address is 50 McClure Street, is my house. 46.
Where is that? Your house?
50 McClure Street here.
Okay, thank
And
you.
actually, also I work in business there.
Living there.
Here, 2 a.m. I never seen this problem because it's 2 a.m.
Thank you.
How you doing today? My name is Sal Castro. I've been a host entertainment for the last 6 years in Lynn. I'm asking for that extra hour for the reason in 2015, I have seen a lot of my friends get DUIs trying to party for an extra half an hour. A lot of people are getting into car accidents, going in the laneway, trying to enjoy one more beer or half an hour going to East Boston on Revere. Maybe we could save more life if we could keep everybody in Lynn instead of drinking and driving all the way to Revere in East Boston. Thank you.
What's your address?
I work at 517 Washington Street, and I own a business 25 Boston Street, Metro PCS. 25 Rogers Ave, Lynn, Mass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Matthias Gonzalez from 44 Lawrence Road. And I have been in this city for about 40 years, pastoring a church for about 300 people. So I have a huge Latino community. I believe that it could be a great blessing if we extend one more hour for the community of Lynn. And also could be a great testing for the Lynn authority to see how the people behave, to see how, I know it's more job for the Lynn authority, but it could be a great blessing because I believe the city of Lynn has great progress. And I praise the Lord for the chief and the police, the way they have been working, organizing everything in the city of Lynn. 10 years or 20, 15 years ago, the city of Lynn was a crazy city. So I'm in favor to attend that time. Like I said, it could be a great blessing from the Lord. Thank you.
time, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of extending the hours till 2 a.m.? For the final time, is there anyone in favor of extending the hours to 8 a.m.?
My name is Tanya. I've been in this industry for I myself experienced customers that I served to rushing out to another city to try to catch another club that is open till 2 a.m. You know, not only do I think extending the hours to 2 a.m. will generate more revenues for business owners, but I also feel that it will also save more costs. You know, there's a lot, tons of DUIs and accidents. So I think, you know, they should
And could you state your full name?
Tanya Brew, and I reside at 16 Rock Avenue right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of extending the hours to 2 a.m.? For a second time, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of extending the hours until 2 a.m.? For the third and final time, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of extending the hours until 2 a.m.? Okay, that closes our portion of our meeting of those in favor of extending the hours to 2 a.m. Thank you for your comments. We have a 5-minute recess. Okay, at this time we will now hear from speakers who are in favor of, I'm sorry, who are against the 2 a.m. I was going to say, things, 1 a.m. We will begin with our police commissioner.
Chairman Biden, if I may just approach for a minute. Those are copies of my presentation.
Thank you.
Good evening. Before I begin, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to present my point of view in opposition to a 2 o'clock closing. I'd also just like to take a minute to thank Mayor Kennedy and the previous speakers. I respect their opinion, and as Attorney Riley said, when I did make that statement, and I stand by my statement. There are a lot of good bar owners in the city. They work hard, and even friends of mine can. And you know, I respect their position. I understand it. I don't 100% agree with it, but I want to show you a different piece of this. Before I get into my presentation, I just want to make 2 quick comments about what was said earlier. And Attorney Riley and I did have a conversation on the phone a few days ago. He asked me where I stood on this, and I gave him a brief statement, which he mentioned some of it here. I was a deputy chief in 2007. As you know, Chief John Suslak was the boss back then, and Chief Suslak did this analysis we're going to talk about in a minute, but the point being, 2007 was 8 years ago, and I was on the sidelines, and for the record, my brother was the past chairman of this commission. I think most people know that, but I would like to put it on the record so there's no confusion. So I stayed off the sidelines, but I know what went on back in 2007. There was legal action taken by the Bar Owners Association under representation of Attorney Riley. He went to Salem Superior Court. And my understanding is everything that was done was legal. It's been upheld. But I would refer the commissioners to counsel with Attorney LaManna to get the details of that, because I would refer to Attorney LaManna as the legal expert, but I would encourage you to look into that if there's any question what occurred in 2007 when this went down. And the only other thing I really want to say briefly, I heard a lot about Revere, and I heard a few comments about Saugus, and there should be the path we follow. But I also have to say there are other neighbors around us. Peabody, Salem, 1 o'clock, Danvers, 12 o'clock, Beverly, I believe is 1 o'clock, but don't hold me to that. So I'm not going to give you my opinion because I'm here right now as the chief of police, but look around. We're bordered by many communities. So think about that when you make your discussions on this. Anyway, I stand before you here, 32-year veteran of the Lynn Police Department. I've been chief for 6 years, was deputy chief for 14. When I was a captain, I was assigned to the 2nd Division, which works 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. Those are the hours we're talking about. I had occasion during those hours to go out on the street. I personally observed what was going on in the city. I was personally involved with it, hands-on. And I think the 1 o'clock closing has made a dramatic difference in Lynn. And I want to state that I'm going to ask the commissioners and everybody behind me to look at it in a little bit different light. I'm looking at the big picture. As I said before, I'm the chief of police. I am tasked to provide the best level of public safety for 90-something thousand residents of the city of Lynn. It's not just the bar owners. I'm tasked for everybody in the city. It's the cops they call at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when the disturbances are going on, and they look for us to fix it. So as we go through the presentation, kind of think of that in the broad picture, because what I'm going to try to convey to you, it's the problems. There were problems in some of the bars, and as the previous speakers have said, and I agree with them, we've addressed most of those problems. We still have a handful of bars that are problems, and the commissioners know this. This is what you do, and you work on the commission. So we're dealing with that. It's not perfect, but as I said before, a lot of bar owners run tight ships, as I said to Attorney Riley, and I'm not going to go back on my word. But next slide, Dave, please. But I want to go back and tell you how we got here. Excuse me. Sorry, Fred, I just made you a license commissioner. Attorney Riley mentioned the study done by Chief Suslak. I want to give you just a real 30-second lesson in community policing. And what I said to Fred on the phone was, this is a piece of what we do in law enforcement. We look for problems. That's what we get paid to do, and then we try to find solutions. There is a theory that we subscribe to. It's called SARA, S-A-R-A. I know you're looking at the board. I'm not quite on that yet, so I apologize for that. I sent you in the wrong direction too quick. But SARA stands for Scan, Assess, Respond, and Analyze. Back in 2007, back when this thing came up, Chief Suslak and the rest of the command staff of the police department, we scanned for the problem. We found the problem. We're having a lot of late-night issues. I'm going to get into that very shortly. How do we fix it? We looked, we assessed our options. We came up with an option, roll back to 1 o'clock. Then we implemented it. That's the response to SARA. We put it in. And that's what happened in 2007. Tonight I'm going to give you the fourth part of that, which is the analysis of what that has occurred, how that has occurred, and the impact that has had on public safety. You're going to hear me say that many times. Public safety for the citizens of Lynn and the visitors who come here. Anyway, January 1st of 06 to January 30th of 07, the study, an 18-month study to evaluate the feasibility. 215 Lynn police reports were filed with the License Commission.
97 of those occurred between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. 46 different locations all throughout the city. And I'm going to give you just a real quick flavor. I'm not going to identify the locations, but these are licensed establishments. And the reason why I'm not going to give you these locations is because it was addressed by the board. And whatever sanctions done, I'm not even sure. I didn't go look those up. But these are instances that are still in our files that were in that study. But this gives you a flavor of what we saw and what the city was experiencing in the early morning hours. But I go to May 25th of 2007, 1:59 a.m. This location was in West Lynn. It was a male party, victim with blood on his right side when police officers showed up. A small piece of his right ear was missing. They found the piece on the ground in the parking lot. And during the investigation, when they spoke to the victim, he almost got into a fight with another individual inside this licensed establishment in West Lynn. When they left it a few minutes before 2 o'clock, out in the parking lot, a fight ensued. The gentleman lost part of his ear. February 16th of 07, 1:44 a.m., a downtown location. Another incident, minor incident occurred within the bar, same time as closing, people are leaving. A little bit of a scuffle out front, nothing bad, back and forth. An individual came out of a car in a nearby parking lot with a Tech-9. If you're not familiar with a Tech-9, it's a machine pistol, it's an automatic weapon. He opened fire. 4 shooting victims, thank God nobody died, but 4 shooting victims went to the hospital and neighboring businesses received damage from the bullets. June 18th, 2007, 1:48 a.m., another downtown location. Units were dispatched there for a disturbance. Fight outside, everybody had left. Short time later, we were notified by both Salem and Union hospitals that they had stabbed victims. 4 people were stabbed. Now, I'm sure some people are saying, Chief, you're exaggerating the fact, or you're making a big thing of it. 3 major incidents, serious personal injury in a 4-month period in that study. That's my point. This is not abnormal, was not abnormal. We had a lot of problems. As I said before, I used to go out on the street. It was not uncommon for us when we started the morning shift at 1 a.m. We had to get out and babysit the bars. We had to physically assign cruisers outside here, so when the crowds came out, they saw a police presence, and it didn't always stop the fights. And then it's not uncommon to dispatch every car over to those fights, because that's what we had, every resource. And a lot of times we had to call mutual aid from the state police and some of that, not so much the neighboring communities. Anyway, that's the study. Dave, next slide, please. I put it on graphs. Incidents of licensed establishment by hour. As you can see, the 6th one over, the hour, 101 to 2 a.m. I apologize, we use military time. Force of habit. But you can see the hours of the day. As it gets later in the evening, the incidents go up. But we really had problems back in that 06, 07 period of time. 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. was the peak. Okay. I broke it down by day of week for you. And please keep in mind, like that first column on the left there, that grayish, bluish one, that's Friday. That starts at midnight Thursday to midnight Friday, so that's that 24-hour period. So you could be covering incidents that occurred Thursday night to Friday morning, 2 o'clock closing, and Friday night business up to midnight. But you see the 2 big ones there, Saturday and Sunday. Monday still kind of up there, but not as bad. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, things were minimal. Those are, again, incidents at the licensed establishments back in the study that was done in 07 that brought this request to the board to roll back. Next slide, please. Now I want to talk about the assessment. Has this worked or has this not worked? MVAs, this is cop talk, we love acronyms. Motor vehicle accidents, 2006 to 2014. And I tried to narrow it down to a period of time so I could give you an accurate snapshot of the impact of rolling it back to 1 o'clock. So this is after the bars had closed. So keep that in mind, please. I'm not saying these happen in the licensed establishments. I'm saying we moved out throughout the city. That's where I'm going with this. 2006 through 2014, again, keeping in mind, as the previous speaker mentioned, the rollback went into effect January 1st of 2008. 2006, very high, 2007, very high, and then it drops. The net decrease over that 9-year period is 59% reduction in motor vehicle accidents. As a cop who worked that morning shift, and there's other police officers here you're going to hear from that are going to back me up on this, this is when we experienced the rush. The rush from Peabody, from Salem, from Danvers, from neighboring communities that came to Lynn. And I was kind of, not shocked, but I was kind of surprised to hear that the mayor of Revere and some of the other community the representatives of Saugus were worried they're going to become a destination city. We were a destination city for the 2 o'clock closings. We had these rush come in. A lot of motor vehicle accidents occurred. Lines used to line up outside the bars, particularly on the ones on some of the outskirt locations when the neighboring communities were coming in. And actually, a couple of people said it here, and I know they're being honest, a lot of people came rushed to Lynn for that last call. It's what happened. You know, it was a different era. But we were the host, we were the destination city. And I apologize, I don't have the specific facts, but it was ironic. When we rolled back to 1 o'clock in 2008, a lot of our neighboring cities did that because they did not want to be the destination city, as we heard other speakers say. Next slide, please. Motor vehicle accidents, same time, same period of years, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. by day of the week. Again, the biggies, Saturday and Sunday. Okay, please. Fights. Same hours, 2 to 3 o'clock a.m., 2006 to 2014. You see the first two again, 2006, 2007 are high, then it dwindles off. Now, I want to just refer to one more police report, just because I think I want to try to diffuse any arguments of saying, Chief, there's no correlation between the bars and what's going on in the city at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. This is just an example of what it is. This occurred, bear with me 1 second, March 19th of 2007. One of our patrol officers, again, I'm not going to name the establishments, patrolling the area of establishment, heard a commotion, stopped. There was a couple of scuffles outside of the local licensed establishment. Called for a couple of cars, they broke it up. Small scuffle started in the back parking lot. They broke down. I told both individuals to leave. They did. 20, 25 minutes later, they got a call for Nahad Place, I believe it was, for a shooting. Same person, the officers dispersed from that parking lot of the licensed establishment, was the victim. Now, there is no licensed establishment on Nahad Place. It's a residential area. When you look at the statistics that I have, I did not give them to you because I didn't want to give you a big giant pile of stats. I can provide them if you so require, just ask me. But my point being, is the fights, when you look at our stats, they're all over the city. The big ones, the more popular ones, if that's might be a bad word, but the more frequent ones will say, we're at some of these licensed establishments. Food establishments, not the licensed establishments, let me correct myself. And after we get to that, you look at the addresses, they're all over the city. They're in the Highlands, they're down the Diamond District, they're in Westland, they're in Eastland, they're in Union Hospital. My point being is, and I'm speaking from experience, when we investigated these things, they leave the bars, they've had sometimes too much to drink, they go home or they go elsewhere and they engage in fights. And there's the statistics to show that when we roll back to 1 o'clock, we reduce those numbers. Next slide, please. Day of the week, Friday, Saturday are the big ones. Enough said, as the saying goes. Next slide, please. Salt batteries. Same thing, 2 to 3 o'clock. See the big 2006, roughly 27, 28, and all the way down to last year, we had a net decrease of 78% salt batteries in the city during that 1 hour period. Next slide, please. By day of the week, Saturday and Sundays are the winners again. Please. Check person. Check person is a call when we talk about dispatch. We have a computer-aided dispatch. We call it CAD, C-A-D. And when you enter a call, you have to categorize it so we can track it. And I know some of the speakers and Attorney Riley mentioned statistics and statistics and statistics. We're judged. Law enforcement is judged by statistics. We have to submit them to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Part 1 crimes. I won't bore you with the details of it. We have to submit those, and that's how we're judged. We're judged for federal funding, for state funding in terms of grants. We're judged by our peers. We're judged by the feds. And if we're not doing a good job, that's the benchmark that people look at. If I'm doing my job as well as the 185 police officers that work with me. So our stats we're anal, I guess you could say, on stats. So check person, example of that, we could get a call for somebody yelling and screaming. Somebody may be passed out in the gutter, someone might be trying to pick a fight, someone might just try to create some kind of disturbance someplace. It's a generic category that we use, so 06 and 07 we're up there. 2008 we had a bad year, we stayed right up there. I can't explain it, but I'm just trying to be open and honest. And the word law enforcement in this day and age is transparency, so I'm putting it all out there. But you can see, after that, they've reduced substantially. Net decrease in that 9-year period, 59%. Day of the week, I can't figure that one out, it's all over the place, so I just leave you to make your own decision on that one. That's, no rhyme or reason to that one. I can't argue Saturday, Sunday. That's what it is, Please. Domestic violence. 2006 to 2014, between 2 and 3 a.m. Net decrease 47% over that 9-year period. Look at the charts. I'm sure you're all familiar with them now. I've explained them enough. You can see the color codes where it went. Just a generality I'm going to say here, but a lot of times it's usually the male. He's out frequent in the bars, having a few cocktails. The lady's home, taking care of the family, the children, whatever. Not going to speak personally about anybody's domestic issues, but they go home, and oftentimes World War III occurs. We get the call, we have to pick up the pieces. But it's amazing when we roll back to 1 o'clock, the domestics in this city reduced. And with all the domestic violence in the world today, I think this slide needs specific attention. Just keep that in the back of your mind, is my suggestion. Next slide, please. Day of the week, back to that Saturday, Sunday. Very popular. All CAD. I mentioned CAD a few minutes ago, computer aided discipline. This is all our calls. 2006 to 2014, by year after the rollback. Net decrease of 21%. You can see where they go. They go downhill. That frees up more officers' time, more police time. What we've done, since we had more, we just don't tell the cops to go to Dunkin' Donuts, have a few extra coffees, we put them to work, we make them earn their salary. We do something we've called directed patrols, which we implemented in 2009, 2010, when we had the time now. And we put these officers out on directed patrols, which is a proactive strike to try to push back some of the crime. For example, we have a lot of car dealerships on the Linway. Every once in a while, we have a rash of B&E breaking entries into the motor vehicles that are for sale or on the lot. So we'll put some of our officers now have some free time, maybe in an unmarked unit down there, patrolling, just to grab the bad guys. Or you might have a rash of house breaks down along maybe the Diamond District or up in Veterans Village. We have the opportunity now to do some proactive policing, get ahead of it. And that's what we're doing with the extra hours that we've been able to come back, extra man hours since we rolled back to 1 o'clock. Lynn Police crime analysis, Part 1 crimes. I mentioned them earlier. These are the numbers that we judged upon. These are the numbers we submit to the FBI. And I apologize to Attorney Riley. When I was on the phone with him the other day, I was double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking my numbers. I did tell him 9%. As you see in the low right-hand corner, that's minus 13%. Net decrease in crime in Lynn from 2009 to 2014. Crime is down 13%. And Fred's right. It's not all about the 1 o'clock bar. I'm not saying that, so please don't take that in that context, but it is a piece of it. And you saw this in previous, 5 or 6 slides. It is a piece of it. It did add to the reduction, along with other programs that we have run in the departments, trying to be proactive and get out ahead of crime. Now the bad news. And I've never been one to cry poor mouth, but I got to just put this on the record. Anybody who's read the papers in the last several months knows the city is in a financial mess due to net school spending issues, and I'm not here to comment or offer an opinion on that, but the reality is the police department budget has been cut substantially over the last 3 years. As you can see, fiscal year 14, $214,000, 15, $824,000. This year here, we just started July 1st, we're down to $500,000 for a net decrease of $1.5 million. Police department budget's around 18, almost 19 million today. That's a big chunk of money. And the results are less police officers on the street, proactive programs cut. And the big one is our community liaison team. Let's get on to the bars here, but that's good. Our community liaison team, those are the cops on the bicycles and those day glow uniforms that do huge work, along with our patrol division, because we do team policing. We do this together. But we cut them, and I did get a grant back. Part of the partial program is back, but come Halloween, that's gone again. So I need every dollar I can get, I need every resource I can get to offset that loss. The other thing is, with a budget cut like that, we're reducing our service to the community. I'm also a resident of this community. I pay my taxes just like, well, probably a lot of people in this room, I won't say everybody. But you want it from being a cop, I want to give the best service I can to the people who pay my salary. Because believe it or not, some people do tell me on occasion I pay your salary, so we'll let that go. Next one, please. Thoughts in closing. Fred mentioned, Attorney Riley mentioned the domino effect. Yes, I did mention the domino effect and I have concerns. Right now, a lot of the fast food establishments are closed at 2 o'clock. And yes, I will say, people go and drink. I'll admit it, in my younger days, I did it. When I went and drink, you get hungry. And it's go get that roast beef, drown in barbecue sauce, or go get the Big Mac or whatever else you want. But we now, with the 1 o'clock closing, we have a problem in Market Square. It's had going on the last couple of years. They leave the bars, they go to the square, they get their food. Those are small businesses, they're out in the street. And keep this in mind too, a lot of our bars and our fast food establishments are in residential neighborhoods. People are trying to sleep. Everybody's not out in the middle of the night having cocktails. A lot of people got to get up the next morning and go to work. Those are the folks that call us. And I know there's a few people here who will testify to that on their own individual experiences, so I'll shut up on that point of view. But if we go back to a 2 o'clock closing, guys, the owners of the roast beef joints, I'm going to suggest they're going to go to the city council and they're going to ask for a 3 o'clock closing. So we're going to push those problems out a little longer. We've been to the council on a couple of establishments asking to roll them back to midnight and 1 o'clock because we have problems now. One convenience store up in East Lynn, we actually rolled them back with the cooperation of the city council license committee. We rolled their hours back from, well, they were 24/7, but now they're closed. I believe it's 12:30 to 5 a.m. because it was crazy up there. It was a magnet for crime and disorder. Little quote I threw up there, it's not broke, don't fix it. Please, Dick. Crime is down for a reason. Problems have been identified, solutions implemented. I explained that with the SARA model. Partnerships. We've established a lot of partnerships in the city, both with other city agencies, with this board, the city council, private agencies, neighborhood crime watches, businesses, the chamber. We're trying to make Lynn a better place. In fact, there was an article in the Lynn Item about a week or so ago about parking. And I was very impressed because there was a quote in there, and I'm not going to get the quote that close, but it was pretty much saying downtown is a very busy place now, 24/7. Because it's vastly improved over the last 10 years. And I'm going to suggest to this commission, 7 of those years, we had a 1 o'clock closing. We're going to take credit for that. Gone are the problem bars, yeah. Whatever reason they're gone, whether it was some actions from the license commission or whatever else, but they're not there anymore. We have a nice downtown. As a cop, it's refreshing for me to go to community meetings and sit down with people like Seth Alden in the Downtown Neighborhood Association. It's refreshing because they care. They have interests of the city at heart. Versus what it was 15, 20 years ago. Now, I'd have a meeting, well, I'm not going to set myself in trouble, but it's much better than it is when it was then than it is now. I'm going to say one word about economic development, because I know that's on people's minds. It's been mentioned a couple of times. Economic development, people are not going to come to this city to live here or work here unless they feel safe. That's my opinion. I think that's the opinion of a lot of people in public service. It's huge. I get phone calls as chief of police a lot from people saying, Chief, I want to move into Lynn. Can you tell me about downtown? Can you tell me about this, or this address or that, or whatever? We will give them the computer dispatch stats of what the crime is in the neighborhood. But they also ask for our opinion. We try to be very careful about that. Because again, I'm a taxpayer in Lynn. I've been a lifelong resident of the city. I want to promote Lynn. But I'm not going to lie to somebody. I'm sworn to tell the truth as a police officer. If I start to lie, my credibility is in the gutter, and I'm useless. I'm going to give them an honest opinion, but I have to. And I think right now, Lynn is on its way back. It's done tremendous strides. They mentioned the restaurants downtown. They closed 11:30. I would say, yeah, we've done great. They're not even interested in 2 o'clock because they close anyway at 11 o'clock. They're not even going at 1 o'clock. So economic development, unless it's going to help the city, and I think 2 o'clock is not going to do it, economic development is not going to occur. In closing, this is a tough decision commissioners have to make. I don't envy you. And I think, this is my opinion, it's going to boil down to a question of private interests or public safety. As chief of police, I'm going to stand in front of you here, and I'm going to say I'm representing the 97,000 people of the city of Lynn. Public safety has to be number one. Many years ago, before the rollback, a 21-year-old girl left Jambalaya, the bar over in Danvers, headed to Saugus to make last call. She did not make it. Died in a motor vehicle accident. bar got sued, all kinds of monies were paid out, horrible. Nobody wants to see that. You saw the accident statistics, you saw the domestic violence statistics, you saw the fight statistics. 1 o'clock closing works. It's been proven. Thank you very much.
We are recessing at 8 o'clock. Will you make your statement in 1 minute?
Buzzy Bach, 11 Brook Street, Lynn, Mass. Thank you for your words, Chief. I'm a city councilor. I'm not here representing the city council. I'm here as chairman of public safety. When I'm in doubt of something, I go to the experts in that field. And if I have something with the schools, I go to the superintendent of the schools. If I have something with the DPW, I go to the DPW commissioner. If I have something in public safety, I go to the fire chief or the police chief. Right now, I went to the police chief, and from what I learned from him on this issue, there is no way that this can happen under public safety.
Okay, it is 8 o'clock, so we are recessing. And, we will reconvene this meeting here at the Lynn Auditorium on Tuesday, August 25th at 6 o'clock. We will be hearing arguments against the 2 a.m. closing. I want to thank you all for coming, and I appreciate how courteous everyone has been, and I